Hello, and welcome to another video from 3.5 Archive. I got something a little bit special for everybody today. Fortunately, I have finally gotten my first little payment from YouTube, which I'm very grateful to everyone watching for making that possible. It's been really great to get 1.5, almost 1,000 subscribers, which is quite good. It's good to see there's a lot of people still interested in D&D 3.5 and interested in looking at some old prestige classes and other material from the game. So I thought, as a little way of giving back, I would get myself a pack of original D&D 3.5 miniatures. So I have here a package of Harbinger. This is the first expansion for the D&D 3.5 miniatures line. These are all pre-painted plastic miniatures, so while I do like to paint, these are pre-painted. So I have seen people do some paint alters on them, but these are a little bit too special to be doing anything like that with. So ready for adventure. You prepare yourself for a random encounter with heroes, villains, and monsters for your Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game. You get 8 pre-packaged, pre-assembled, hand-painted, not sure about that part, collectible miniatures complete with the statistic cards. And I find it very interesting that while this cost me $40 plus $10 shipping, the suggested retail is still in the box at $9.99. And these are from 2003, so that should just put things into perspective for you. So this is sealed. I don't know if this is the original shrink wrap or not. Doesn't really matter. The box is a little bit bowed in there, but that's completely fine. We're going to open it up and see what we got. It's very interesting to see these old expansion packs where you would get 8 miniatures. Nowadays with the 5th edition ones, you usually only get 4. I've bought a couple of them now and then, or I've bought like a singleton one for Pathfinder, but it's really not the same, and frankly the quality of the miniatures is not the same either. These were, when it came to prepackaged miniatures, the absolute peak of quality for durability, for the plastic. I've had a lot of Pathfinder miniatures break on me over the years. We got it here in French as well. But I've never had one of these break. I've had these flung across the room by accident. I've had these dropped on the floor. Never stepped on or anything like that. So let's take a look. Let's open it up. This should be a original in-package one. It might have been repackaged, not sure. But we're going to take a look here. Oh, this is actually fully sealed. We have an original business reply mail for Wizards of the Coast. I remember getting these in the old 3rd edition books, the little surveys and tiny little text asking you what Wizards of the Coast products you consumed and that sort of thing. Wonder what would happen if I mailed this in. Anyway, so let's take a look at our first miniature here. And the original line I really love just because it's classic 3rd edition. You got the most basic monsters you could think of, like just having an ogre. I don't remember if the elven archer ones were from Harbinger or not, but I believe the skeletal minotaur was, which is another really cool one. Let me take a look here at what we got first. Alright, this appears to be a hyena or something. Let's pull that open and drop that, but it doesn't matter, it's perfectly fine. So this would be a good companion for your Gnoll opponents in your game, or for a Gnoll warband. I do have quite a few Gnolls from the 3.5 series, the original Gnolls actually. Those I had to order specially, of course, but this would be a good companion for them. I've never actually played the 3.5 miniatures game. I know the rules a little bit. I do like rounding the hit points to the nearest 5 and the damage to the nearest 5. That really helps. And one thing I'm really sad about is that miniatures war game never really took off on the level that Warhammer 40k or any of those did. And while I understand because there's no painting or assembling element to them, and I do know that they've tried to bring it back over the years with Attack Wing and whatever the newest one is, like Onslaught or something like that, never really took off. And I always thought that it should, because the grid that you use, the battle grid, really helps prevent any kind of that fiddliness you get with line of sight, true line of sight, any of that sort of thing. If you do have to measure it, you can measure it with a string from the vertices of the squares, but other than that, it's just nice and discreet, quick to set up. Really should be very simple, quick to play. Anyway, let's take a look at this one. So it looks like here we've got a gnomish paladin. I do recognize this miniature, and I will show all these off again a little bit closer, as well as possibly put some stills in at the end of the video. Yank it too hard and send it flying again. So this is a gnome recruit. Probably hard to read that, but yeah, this little guy's a gnome recruit. It's just a gnome with a sword and shield, and it'd be a nice addition to a warband. Don't know how many points they are, but I'll take a look in a second. Really interested in what I actually get. Oh, here are the stat cards. Oh, a little bit of spoiler there. I guess I get an Axe Sister, which is actually one I've been looking for a while. Oh, excellent. So this will actually almost complete my collection. We got Tordek here. I can recognize him on sight. Yeah, so we got Tordek, dwarf fighter here. Sorry if it's a little bit blurry. I will try to include close-up stills of each of these at the end. He's got a blue cloak there, typical auburn beard. I mean, the face, again, you'll see in the close-up pictures I'll take, but the face is, the painting leaves something to be desired, but it does definitely look like him, and it would be great to add. I do have, I believe I have Lita. I definitely have Jozam, as he is pretty similar to my current cleric character, and I've got a couple of the other iconics as well, including Regdar, who's not the best sculpt, but I do like him just for your classic heavily armored greatsword fighter. Oh, and here we go. Awesome. So for our large miniature, we're going to have a large earth elemental. So let's take this one out, take a look. This actually will come in pretty handy. A lot of times you'll be summoning large earth elementals. They're useful for scouting, useful for earth gliding through walls in a dungeon and coming back and telling you with their 6 intelligence what's inside. It's a pretty cool one. I've seen definitely some better sculpts in this one, but this one's pretty great. And definitely a lot more respectful of the size of the battle grid compared to some earth elementals in the more modern times, shall we say, where they look at the 1 inch wide or 2 inch wide base as a limitation that must be burst free from. Alright, so for our next one, we've got a goblin rogue. Looks like he got bent a little bit. And yeah, he's definitely got a little bit of a lean to him, but that can be corrected with hot water if you're very careful. And this is one actually shows up in the miniature handbook in one of the pieces of art. He's actually shooting poor Miley the wizard in the back, but given other art we've seen of her, she probably recovered. So that's 5 of our 8 miniatures so far. And I've got just a few more here to check out. One of them is, of course, the Axe Sister. This one I was always interested in getting, just kind of liked the pose. It was a pretty basic, female warrior with a great axe, it looks like. Axes are a little bit smaller than some of the ones you see in more modern miniatures. And I did also really like the Axe Knight, which is the fully armored and helmeted axe warrior. But unfortunately I was a little bit disappointed when that miniature actually showed up. It was smaller than I expected, and it also was just not particularly a good sculpt compared to what I expected. Same thing with the Man-at-Arms. Really liked the sculpt when I saw it in pictures, and then when I actually got some, it was a lot shorter than I expected. And then here we go. Here's one that I already have. We have a half-orc fighter. This guy is definitely going to need some hot water treatment. I actually already have one of these, so I'm not particularly attached to this one. Perhaps this one can be a giveaway or something once I fix it up, because I don't really need more than one of these guys. He's kind of like a main character sort. This one I actually used for quite a while for my friend's half-orc character in 5th edition when I began playing that. And then last but not least, we have ourselves a Drow Elf. Not sure how much I am a fan of this one. Definitely something that's happened over the years with miniatures has been a sort of scale creep, I would call it, where we started out at something resembling 28 millimeter, actual 28 millimeter, and then just kind of one up from there. If you look at some newer D&D miniatures compared to older ones, these guys are going to look positively diminutive comparatively because, well, they're just shorter. I mean, the dwarves are definitely shorter. If you look at the halflings, they'll be a lot shorter. I should have brought some of my other ones out to compare and contrast. It's definitely been a problem. It's not just with D&D miniatures either, with either the new pre-painted ones or the Nolzur's unpainted line, which is at least pre-primed. I give them credit for that. But also with Reaper miniatures. Reaper miniatures honestly has a huge problem with sticking to 28 millimeter, but I use a whole variety of miniatures for my games, and these have always been my favorite. Just the classic round black base, kind of grounds it in the fact that it is still a game piece. Some people do like to put grass and really fine detail in their bases, and I've done stuff like that a few times, but never really been that into it. So let's take a look at these stat cards here. Got our large Earth Elemental to start things off. And what's really nice about these is that they contain a simplified version of the stats on one side, and then they've got the miniatures game stats on the other. And you can see how much simpler they are compared to the game stats. Kind of hard to read, but it's got the full, basic game stats there. And then this guy's got different traits. You can see that the hit points are 70, armor class 18. It's just a very simple melee attack, +4/+4 for 25 damage a hit. It's got damage reduction 5. This can be a little bit difficult for small creatures to overcome that, even with critical hits, although that's a problem with real Earth Elementals too. So you do run into some issues that wouldn't really fly in a real game, like some monsters being just completely unable to damage each other, but that's part of the game, and you just kind of have to adapt to it. We've got Tordek here. He actually isn't a leader, he's just a level 1 dwarf fighter. He's worth 5 points, so you just kind of send him along with your other dwarves and hope he survives, I guess. Not sure if he was very popular to be played. You got Drow Archer for 14 points. Precise Shot is still a thing in the miniatures game, which is nice. Good they kept some rules. Really, they just tried to cut down on the bookkeeping, which is really helpful. When I was a lot younger, we would just have D&D battles, and that was something that I would do with people I played with. Sometimes when we were bored, we would just have a battle between various creatures from the monster manual, various war bands, but we would just write down the hit points on paper. Here we got the Gnome Recruit. He's only worth 3 points, so he's a nice cheap option to add to your warband. The warbands also came with alignments, so this guy's chaotic good. I believe that there were only the corners of the 3-axis chart. Yeah, so there'd be chaotic evil, lawful evil for this goblin sneak, lawful evil for this half-orc fighter. I actually don't know where the Earth Elemental, yeah, large Earth Elemental, even though they're neutral, they stuck him under lawful good, just because of what he would be used for. We got our Axe Sister here, who's 21 points, so she's a 5th level character actually, so she's got 50 hit points to work with, and a melee attack for +10 to hit for 15 damage, and a whirlwind attack too, which makes sense for sweeping a big axe around. Here we can see that she's a Barbarian 3 Fighter 2, and it's got all the little stats in there. Actually, it's got Combat Expertise, which is an interesting choice for a Barbarian, because that's actually one of the feats that they specifically can't use while they're raging. But, some of these kind of weird character builds are part of the charm of D&D 3.5 pre-generated characters. So we got a whole bunch of different stat cards here, and I'll just show these off one more time, and I will do my best to see if I can focus on him a little bit better. If not, I will, of course, post some little stills at the end of the video so that you guys can just take a look. Obviously, you can also look these up online, but there seems to be a dearth of good high-quality images of these miniatures I found, and it's probably just to save space on the online stores. Their database probably only has so much room, but there's not a lot of high-quality images of these guys, and for some of them that's a blessing. You'll probably be able to see Tordek's less than detailed paint job for his face, but these were mass-produced. I kind of scoffed at them being hand-painted, but really what I was more saying is I don't know how much of that was truly fully hand-painted, and this paint that they use is rather weird. I would actually be curious to know more about the manufacturing process for these, although possibly I wouldn't want to know. So yeah, the hyena will be quite nice to add to a Gnoll warband. And yeah, looking at these is just really nice. I mean, and I have nothing against Warhammer. I don't play it. I do have a few of them for the purposes of painting them. A little bit interested in the lore. Warhammer's definitely earned its place, where it's very popular, but it's definitely been criticized for accessibility in terms of the cost, in terms of the painting. I mean, I recently learned that apparently that Warhammer 40k's got a special legion or faction in this lore for the unpainted miniatures, the Grey Brotherhood or something like that, which I thought was quite funny. But you're expected, to buy them, cut them out, assemble them, and really not everyone, is completely capable of doing that well, and also not everybody has the time or wants to do that. Some people just want to play a miniatures war game, and I really like this one because it was just out of the box. You could buy it. The rules were fairly simple. You could play it on a grid. That's really the only extra piece of equipment you needed besides the dice and some kind of counter to keep track of the hit points, rounded to 5. So it was a really great, I thought, easily accessible war game, and I really don't know why it didn't succeed. I mean, there's a lot of different issues I can think of that it had, but really kind of surprising that it didn't do better. And I'm really a little bit disappointed that Wizards of the Coast has never been able to replicate that success since, even just on the low level that it enjoyed, because I don't think, I frankly have never seen anyone playing Attack Wing at the game store. I've never seen anybody playing Onslaught at the game store. Maybe just because they don't have events for it. Wizards of the Coast doesn't feel like sponsoring it. I'm not quite sure. Be interested to know what you guys' thoughts are. But anyway, that's going to be about it for this D&D 3.5 miniatures unboxing video. I hope you enjoyed. And I might at some point do a little giveaway type contest for this guy. I haven't decided yet. I definitely will have to fix him up. But if that's something you guys are interested in, we could definitely do something fun like that. And that'll be about it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this wasn't a little too self-indulgent of me showing off the new toy that I got. But I just wanted to give my thanks for everybody supporting this channel, watching it, trickling in the little ad revenue. For those of you that don't use ad block, I appreciate it. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again soon here on 3.5 Archive.